Thank you very much for having me. I think it's a very good conference because a lot of guests participated, scholars and diplomats and other religious scholars participated from the Muslim countries. And since we don't have the Turkistan's cause has not much support from the Muslim country, this time I have seen so many scholars and care about this issue. That's very important, I think.
In your opinion, how can Islamic countries support more the East Turkestan issue?
We understand that Islamic countries has a lot of their problems, their own problems, their own difficulties and the challenges, and all Islamic countries are ethnic state. So they put priority their ethnic state interest and the benefit. But we are thinking that I'm not talking about the population here because we know that population support the East Turkestan's cause because of the religious obligation. We know that, but the state rulers, we didn't receive any support until now. Most of the Muslim states is taking China's side, but we are expecting that at least they have to. Even they don't think this is a religious obligation, okay, but the population think religious obligation, but if the state rulers, even they don't think this is a religious obligation and they have to put the state benefit and the priority, we want them to at least balance their state between their state interest and the supporting the East Turkestan cause. At least that's silent, even they could not support. Not take China's side. We are expecting those countries, expecting the population of those countries, Muslim population, to put pressure on their government. Even they could not help anything to the cause of East Turkestan. At least they should not take the side of China, and they should not vote for the China. For example, there is a debate in Uyghur human rights issues. In UN, they said we should debate or not, so that countries vote. And if you look at this vote, most of them are Muslim countries, except Somalia, right? So this is very, very disappointing. This is something they can do it. So why they support China and the vote against us that the China doesn't have human rights issues, Uyghurs were not oppressed? This is total lie. This is very disappointing, and they make us feel very angry. And I think those Muslim countries should not do that. Of course, we're not expecting anything from them. To help our cause, do this, do that. At least for now, just don't take China's side. That's what we are expecting. Tell the truth, like a state side by the truth, not like false information, not the enemy side.
And how can also European countries and Western countries in general can help and support East Turkestan issue and get engaged more? So we can see positive steps on the ground.
Yeah. For example, those countries, Western countries, very supporting Uyghurs, for example, they put pressure on China in UN. When they vote, most of the Western countries voted against China, that they agreed that there should be debate about the human rights issues of Uyghurs, and so they voted for that. And then they also gave economic sanction to China, for example, the US. They banned so many entities, business entities, to do business with China because those business entities involved with the forced labor, Uyghur forced labor. So this is at least kind of pressure. So maybe China gonna get so much pressure like that. They may stop the Uyghur forced labor. That will help at least, right? So they doing something at least practical, and in the media too. The people saying. I talk with some of the Muslim countries people, some of the journals, maybe they taking the China side. They don't believe, they said, this is, they talking like China's mouse, the echoing China. They said, this is like a propaganda of US, they using you for what they're using us. The China really doing the forced labor there, that's true. China doing genocide. There we have a month of evidences. Too much evidences as if we have a proof that they incarcerated already 1 to 3 million people in the prison and the concentration camp, and they will not release it yet. We have the data, and the AFP's journalists just recently went there. at Boston village in East Turkestan, check one by one those, they have some data, and that those people's address who was arrested, none of them were released. So many people were missing. And China dressed up Chinese people as an Uyghur, make them dancing at the street, creating fake scenes. It's very similar to Nazi's Red Cross. So when people visit, they show that, and they're cheating the world. But many people believe in that, and they say this is American propaganda. Why America? Okay, maybe America, every state that they have their own benefit, they want to use something, but for now there is an ongoing genocide, and we have a proof, we have evidence, everything is very, very clear for everyone, and we have more than 1 million Uyghurs in Uyghur diaspora, and everyone has a relatives arrested. So we are the live proof. So how they could deny that? And US bring this to the world and the media, and they said, oh, US is doing propaganda using Uyghurs. They're using for what? They're using just accusing China, but they're telling the truth. Okay, so let them accuse, because China is criminal. They're doing genocide. So let them do it. You know.
So in Canada also, the administration there they announced to accept about 10,000 refugees from Uyghurs. So this is a very good steps. And also the rest of the countries do the same. And also you mentioned in your recent book as a writer and a researcher, can you give us a short brief overview about your new
Okay. Yes, Canada, it want to accept 10,000 Uyghurs at least. That's a good step, like you said, very good sign. They are supporting. It's a very practical, because there is so much Uyghur refugees around the world. Right now, so many Uyghurs can't escape from China, but since the genocide started. But before that, so many Uyghurs escaped from China. We have more than 50 Uyghurs in Thailand prisons. Right now, they're living there more than 8 years. And already 2 of them passed away, died because of the harsh condition over there. Canada helping us, good thing. And we are happy for that. This is practical thing for the Uyghur refugees, because we have nowhere to go, the Uyghur refugees. So like, at least those Muslim countries, other countries, we're not expecting them to accept Uyghur refugees, but at least they should not return. They hand it over to China, to those Uyghur refugees. And Turkey accepts so many Uyghur refugees too. Except Turkey, no one did. All Central Asian countries and those other Muslim countries handing over to Uyghurs to China. So this is very sad. You ask another question about my book, right? So my book is about the relationship between East Turkestan and China. I analyzed in this book that how China violated the international law and illegally occupied East Turkestan, and what is happening in East Turkestan since they're occupied, and how China distorted the information, real national identity of East Turkestan, and defined Uyghurs as one of the minority of the China, and define it that this territory is not exist, it's an inseparable part of China. So this all false information. I use debate and so many proofs and international law, argued with China, and ask international world to not to follow China's distorted information about the Uyghurs' identity or other Turkic Muslims' identity in East Turkestan. And East Turkestan, it was illegally occupied nation, and the Uyghurs is not part of China. So this whole book is about that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.